Hello, this is a poem some years ago. I picked it up in County Cork, and it's about a thrashing mill. And it goes something like this. Martin Doran, he came home from America. I met him the other day. We talked about all the wonderful things in the parish that happened while he was away. We talked about all the old lads that lived there and the things they said and done. And he said he was sorry he ever came back to find them all dead and gone. He looked across at a broken down house and he said, the last time I handled a fork, I was throwing shafts at Folklore.ie's Thrasher. It was the day before I went to New York. I can remember it well. It was a cold frosty morning and we were thrashing a big rick of oats. We were well prepared for the weather with our LDF boots and top coats. I could still see old Fogarty coming into the haggard, and he started to lay down the law. He put a couple of lads minding the lads at the thrasher and a couple of lads piking the straw. He put a couple of lads cutting the shafts, and he told myself and Pat Murphy to pitch. And he said, when you're taking the rushes off the top of the rick, will you make it up in a cock by the ditch? The driver, he jumped up on the engine. The flywheel had started to spin. He gave an old blow on the whistle and the work was about to begin. He pushed an old lever beside him and the thrasher it began to hum. And a big fog of dust it went up in the sky when they lifted the lid of the drum. At 11:30, Pat Murphy knelt down and he said with a nod and a wink, "You should take it easy now, lads, for the barman maid, she's here with the drink." It was Mrs. Fogarty herself with the porter. It was covered in a thick, creamy froth, and judging by the look of the buckets, she didn't waste any time with the clod. Her hands disappeared in the porter as she filled one of the tins, and she said she hadn't time to give them a rub because she was mixing the food for the hens. Some of the neighbours went home for the dinner. The house had a very bad name, and if we knew what we were going to get, I think we'd have all done the same. Mrs. Fogarty said, "You must be starving. Sit down and eat all that you are able." And by God, fair play to the woman that day, she had lashings of food on the table. Everyone knew that the meat tasted queer, and there wasn't any doubt. And someone said, "I wondered where did she get it?" And says Pat Murphy, "I'll try and find out." Mrs. Fogarty says, "Do you want any more?" And said Pat as he held out the plate, "By God, ma'am, wherever you got it, but that's a great bit of meat." Well, Mrs. Fogarty's face lit up with delight, and she made a little bow, and she says, "You know, you should hardly believe this, but that's the hind leg of a sow. She died last night after having the bonnings, the poor unfortunate beast, and we thought it'd be nothing short of a sin to see a fine load of meat going to waste." Well, all of a sudden, Pat stopped eating. He said, "I don't want any more." And the sides of his cheeks, they started to bulge, and he made a quick race for the door. When all of the neighbours came back after the dinner, we told them what we had to eat, and they said they were very sorry to ever miss such a treat. At 4:30 in the evening, this young lad, he went over to Pat, and of course he was told what to say. He says, "Mrs. Fogarty's at in and she's roasting the bonnings and you'll have all one for the tea." Pat's face grew purple with anger when all the lads started to laugh, and he caught the young lad by the scruff of the neck and he belted him into the chaff. Well, it's 50 years now since Folklore.ie's Thrasher, and I've been many places since then, and I've spent a good few years in New York, but I'm glad to be back home again. Thank you.